Testing. It's taking me ever to get set up tonight. Please let me know if you can hear me okay. Yeah, maybe. Good evening, Martin. Robert, please someone shout out in chat that you can hear me okay, because I have no idea. I'm just gonna wait a minute. Okay, loud and clear, thank you. Cool. Good evening, guys. How you guys doing? It's been a little while. Yeah, it's been a crazy week. But we are moved into the new house, which is cool. Very glad to be moved, obviously. This house is about 1,000,000 times warmer, I guess, than my old house. But yeah, I always feel the cold quite a lot, so this is good. Give me a shout out on what you're working on. You know, I'm out of the loop. I've barely even read Warhammer community posts this week. I've barely even been on my phone, just all day, every day, moving stuff around. So if there's anything anyone wants me to catch up on, please let me know. And if there's anything you guys need videos on in the coming weeks, then also let me know. I'm going to be starting tonight with these guys, and we're going to be doing texture paint. We've done texture paint a couple of times before on the channel. Oh wow, the focus on this thing is different, huh? Well, that's cool. Alright, I got some autofocus now as well. I didn't even know that I had that. Wear the gloves. I'm in a t-shirt, man. And I ain't even I'm wearing one pair of socks, which is a big improvement. Should I get Terminators or Sanguinary Guard? Probably Sanguinary Guard. I mean, they're the most damaging unit that we can have, right? I like Sanguinary Guard a lot. Terminators, I think, have a place in 9th edition, but like if you don't have either, then I would always get the Sanguinary Guard first. Painting Inceptor bolt arms and Vanguard veteran jump packs. Thanks, Daniel. I actually might have to go and try and find some more Armageddon dust. This pot looks pretty empty. Good evening, 444. Hey Robert, how are you? I'm furiously painting Lumineth and Realm Lords ahead of a tournament next weekend. You were just at another tournament as well, like Gitley, right? How'd you get on? You may have told me already. Sorry if you have. I apologize. I never want to have to move house again. When you have a pregnant wife and a baby, I mean, moving house is bad anyway, but when you have a pregnant wife that can't lift anything really of significant weight, and you have a baby that needs like a 2-year-old that needs looked after like all the time, like you can't leave her alone anywhere in a room for more than like a couple of minutes, moving's been pretty difficult. I think the first 3 days in a row I did like over 20,000 steps, which is like quite a lot. I mean, I can do 20,000 steps. Like if we just wanted to go like, you know, hill walking or something, I could do 20,000 steps, but 3 days in a row, yeah, that's quite a lot. It's like 10 miles 3 days in a row. And it's 10 miles while probably carrying like a box or a suitcase or something like that, you know, like it was crazy amount of exercise those first few days. Good evening, Commander. Good evening, Steel Rain. New house is great, actually. Kind of every time like I'm doing stuff in this house, it just feels so nice. I mean, I just saved for a lot of years to be able to afford this house, and I had to like, I guess I had to like penny pinch a little bit, you know, like Andrew, you guys know Andrew, he always makes fun of me for like really saving my money all the time. Like I wouldn't even go to like Starbucks for a coffee because I'm like, you know, a coffee at Starbucks is like £3, whereas like I can make coffee for a month for £3. So like I was like, you know, I was pretty rigid in like saving money for like a long period of time, like probably close to 10 years, but I guess it's all worth it now. In that, like, this house I'm in, I was wearing a shirt before I started the stream, and I actually had to take the shirt off because with the big overhead light I have on, so you guys can see what I'm working on, like, it's actually too hot in the room to be wearing a shirt. And my old house was never too hot in October, really. You got lots of tournaments, 5 coming up in the next 8 weeks. Wow. Nice. You've done more tournaments in 8 weeks than I have done in the last 2 years, then good for you. I do have a tournament coming up just when was it again? It's like the second week in November, so this must be the last, so it must only be like 2 or 3 weeks away, this tournament that I've got coming up. Maybe 3 weeks actually, yeah. So like, these guys need to have their bases done for the tournament. So obviously the rules for the tournament are 3 colors and bases. So I have 3 colors on these guys. They're a long way from finished, but I thought I'd just get the bases done as well, get it out of the way, so that these guys can be fielded if I want to field them. I think I'm going to run slightly different list at this tournament with like Volkite Contemptors and stuff, because I think they're kind of, well, I think they're great, the Volkite Contemptors. But for now, I've had these veterans for a while, and I just figured like I'll get them all, I'll get the bases sorted on all of them, and then it gives me some options. I was training to be a Blood Angels with all those steps. Yeah, I mean, I felt like I ascended Angel's Keep, man. When I woke up on like the first day after the move, like my legs were like super stiff. You know, like if you've like done a ton of exercise and like your leg muscles have just like given up on you. And I was like, oh great, my legs are already sore and I'm gonna have to walk for the entire day. But it's been a productive week and everything has moved, and yeah, the new house is going to be... I'm going to enjoy making YouTube videos and stuff as well more in the new house as well, because the room that I make the videos in previously was the coldest room in the house, and I kind of just took it because like someone had to take the coldest room in the house, right? So it made sense for it to like kind of be my office rather than like the bedroom or my baby's room. So in this house, I may actually have to open the window. The insulation, I turned the heating off when I moved in on the Monday, just because I was curious, and like I said, like I really try and save money. I mean, I probably don't need to save as hard now that I finally moved house, but in the previous house, like I was always trying to save money, so like the heating would be on as low as it needed to be. You know, I'd rather like put on more clothes than put the heating on. So I turned the heating off when I moved. Turned the heating off in this house when I moved in, out of curiosity, and like, yeah, it's roasting. Doomslayer, greetings. The helmet plot thickens. I prepared to start painting my captain. I saw in the codex that Blood Angels heavy intercessors have red helmets, and yet they had yellow assault ones in yellow. Hold on. Heavy intercessors have red helmets. Oh, and you mean if they had like the assault bolters? I forget what the assault heavy bolters on the intercessors are called, but yeah. I mean, to me, troops wear red helmets. I think Games Workshop may have actually put a picture out of heavy intercessors with blue helmets, because like technically they have heavy weapons and heavy support sometimes have blue helmets. So I think with the... I think if I was doing heavy intercessors, I think I would do them in red, because I think they are a troop choice, and I think they are in red. I think blue is definitely wrong. I'm kind of more okay with yellow than I am with blue, because like, yeah, I feel like they would be running those assault bolters and you'd want to push them forward, and they're in Gravis and they're not too bad in combat and they're survivable. But I think if I was... So I can be more on board with yellow helmets than blue for sure. But I think I tend to do all regular... I did assault intercessors, even though they're troops, I guess, with yellow helmets. But I mean, they just... they kind of, I mean, like assault squads back in the day had yellow helmets. I guess assault intercessors are kind of the same. They just don't have jump packs. It's very confusing, Doom. I think what you do is you pick what you want to do, right? I think you're free to do anything that you want. It's your army. No one can tell you otherwise. Well, I mean, they can tell you otherwise, and you can tell them to fuck off because it's your army, right? So, what paint am I using for the base? This is the Citadel Armageddon Dust paint. It's basically Xandri dust, right? Like it's the exact same color, even though they don't look like the same color. They are actually the exact same color. It's just that the Armageddon dust has like basically, I think it's just like grains of sand through it, so it gives you that sort of like texture feel. Like it's probably just sand off a beach somewhere or something, and you basically pay £5 for the privilege of it. I think you could make this yourself if you had any sort of if you wanted to make this yourself. I think you could make it just by taking some Xandri dust and throwing some beach sand in it, or some grit or something like that. I'm pretty sure that's all it is. But it's, you know, it's part of that texture range that they do now. That I've seen some of the texture paints, you know, you can do the ones where they like crack the ground. That's pretty cool. I like that a lot, actually. I think maybe in hindsight, if I hadn't already got a load of models done this way, I would have bought that. I think it's called like Astro Granite or something. And like basically you paint it on quite thick, and then when it dries, it makes it look like you're like on a cracked ground. I've seen some people do it like with red bases for Blood Angels. It kind of looks like you're on Baal. It's pretty dope, actually. But yeah, I've been doing my guys for a while using this dust thing, and they're all the same, so I just continue to do it this way. I tend to try and paint it on quite thick as well, so when it dries, it really leaves, like, I don't have a problem like with putting like big splodges of it anywhere, because it does dry out a lot, and you know, you won't ever end up with big splodges. Really, it'll create just interesting, a little bit like they're walking across like a pretty dirty, I guess. I got some at the next stage over here, right? So these guys are the same, but they've been washed with Agrax Earthshade. So something like that is what it comes down to. I usually dry brush it afterwards as well to give it like an even. I'll dry brush like something like Tyrant Skull over the top of it afterwards as well. Sometimes GW decides the helmet colors by rolling dice. You're probably right. Yeah, they just do whatever helmet colors they feel like. It's probably a bit of artist discretion. 444 are using the Terminator with a missile launcher. I'm not using him right now. Funny you should say that right as I pull that guy out to put some paint on. I'm not using him right now. I'm not sure I love Cyclone missile launchers for the points that they cost. But I mean, I thought that I'd just put the texture paint down on him as well, just so that it's an option. But yeah, he's not... I don't feel like he's top of the priority list. Like, he's okay, but I don't think they're really anything special, the Cyclone missile launchers. 25 points. Slightly weaker than multi-melt is, I guess, but slightly longer range. The problem I have with the Cyclones is the D6 damage, and I guess I just dislike weapons that do D6 damage because you can't rely on them. And I mean, I guess like when you're talking about tournament lists, you want to be able to rely on your weapons, and that's probably why I really like the plasma cannons on the Redemptors, just because once you actually start hitting, you know that you're getting that flat 3 damage. I guess the Redemptors are a little bit swingy because you get D6 shots, but yeah, I don't know, I prefer the Redemptors a lot. Heavy intercessors have red helmets, assault intercessors have yellow. Yeah, I mean that's what I would do if it was me. I didn't realize heavy intercessors were even in the codex. I thought they got released after the codex came out, but maybe the models got released after the codex came out, but they'd like... Oh yeah, they announced... I forget, I think they announced a bunch of stuff in the Space Marine Codex that wasn't available for a little while, like those new speeders and stuff as well, didn't they? I decided to go gold helmets on my sergeants in case I ever want veteran intercessor squads. Yeah, gold helmets on the sergeant is the right call as well. I would do that. I tend to go gold helmets on my sergeants. So what's people's views on those new Joy-Con toys that are coming out? You get 4 of them and they're like Death Company, right? I saw them on Twitter last night. They're like the ones that just came out. I don't know if you can see the big... No, you can't see the McFarlane one that I bought before, but you can apparently now you can get 4 of them and they'll be Death Company. And also, what's been happening on Warhammer Plus? Because I haven't made a video on Warhammer Plus in like a month now. The last one I did was episode 2 of Angels of Death, and I haven't got any further. I literally haven't had a spare minute with all the moving. I'm gonna try and fix that. Damn it. I don't play the game, I just love the models, so I don't sweat uniformity of armies. Yeah, I mean, uniformity of armies is... You don't have to be super uniform for playing either, brother. My stuff's reasonably uniform, but I mean, it isn't perfect. I mean, if you go to a tournament and something, sometimes you'll play against people's armies who are all over the shop, so I wouldn't worry if you're sweating about the head colours. I'd just be like, no, it's fine. Just pick what you think goes well with it and rock with that, I guess. I meant to thank you, John, for turning my head to the whirlwind for a melee army. Just bought one today and built it. Nice, Robert. Yeah, I always find uses for my whirlwind. Doesn't always do very much damage, but you know, it'll hold an objective, it'll be a nuisance against certain armies. It can clear things off objectives, and in one of my games against Dukari at the last tournament, actually, the whirlwind won me the game, just because in one turn he left one model in an obscuring position on an objective and I just shot the whirlwind at it. And sure, it's got no AP later in the game because I just used the cheap rocket launcher, but like, it does have weight of fire, 2d6 shots, and against Dukari it was just like a toughness 3 infantry. So I'm going to wound him on 2s, and then he's going to have to make a bunch of saves, and yeah, Whirlwind won me the game. I won by 5 victory points, and that swing of me knocking him off the objective won the game basically, so I like the Whirlwind. It's a fun little unit to have. Hammer and Bolter has 1 more episode and 1 tutorial on white armour. Angel of Death stops at episode 5 until November. Okay, so I guess I was hoping I'd have more than 3 episodes to watch by now, but okay, I guess I can watch 3 and make a video on the 3 that we watched together. The third company they've licensed the IP for action figures. Yeah, it does seem like there's a lot. Like, the action figures seem strange. Like, it's like there's tons of different types of action figures coming out. Like, which one do you buy? Angels of Death stopped at episode 5, and then he talked to Wade Price in the last from the masterclass about what they liked about each episode. Yeah, I've been hearing mixed things about Warhammer Plus on Twitter. Like, I think some people are upset about how much content it has. I have really not had any time at all. Like, I just haven't had any time at all with moving, I guess. So I'm gonna get caught up, hopefully. Probably not this week, because tomorrow night I'm going to be firing into some sort of new tactics video for next week, but maybe the week after that I'm going to get caught up in Warhammer Plus. We still have boxes to unpack. We've been unpacking since Monday. I've been to the dump like a bunch of times. Like, what's funny is I've been to the dump like 2 or 3 times, right? With like stuff that we don't need anymore. So I was saying to my wife, like, why on earth did you make me move this from one house to the other house to then go dump it? Could have saved myself a bunch of time and effort and petrol money, I guess. But we're there, we're almost there now, I guess. We have to put pictures on the wall, we haven't done any of that nonsense. How do you all paint dark metal on vehicles? I'm about to try and paint my first one. For most of my metal I use lead belcher, and then I usually darken it with something like Nuln Oil. Maybe some other people, sometimes in this channel people have good ideas about different non-Games Workshop paints to use, so if that's something you're interested in, someone will probably give you a suggestion on dark metal. When you mean dark, do you mean like black metal, or you just mean like dark grey metal, or what? Howdy Jeff, good afternoon. What I've seen, the Joy Toy quality ones are the highest. I thought that the quality of the McFarlane figures seemed okay. I think you probably have to paint the... I think if you want the McFarlane figures to look good, I think you have to paint them. The quality of the figure is fine, I think the paint job is poor. But maybe that's the point, like, it means that you can go and customize and paint them yourself, right? Is that... And some people were saying that if you paint those giant figures, you learn a lot of techniques and stuff that you can apply to the smaller figures. So maybe at some point, once I've done this tournament and nothing's happening in tournament land for me for a little while, I'm going to respray that McFarlane figure and make a video about painting it. There's less than 3 hours of content for you to catch up on other than Lore Master, battle reps and master classes. Yeah, see, I am going to watch battle reps on Warhammer Plus. I had a look at like the first 2, and like they're just not competitive, and competitive is what I'm interested in. So if I'm wanting to watch battle reps, I'm going to go to probably Tabletop Tactics, I guess. Like, shout out to those guys, they do great battle reps. Vanguard Tactics as well, I watch sometimes. I want to say sometimes I watch the Plastic Crackheads, but I only watch them because I have to fight them on a week-on-week basis and I need to beat them. No, do you know what, that's harsh. I watch them because they're my friends, but I also want to beat them. So yeah, one of the reasons to watch Plastic Crackheads for me is so that I can beat them. So yeah, the Warhammer Plus battle reports that I watched, I didn't think I was going to learn much or learn anything from them, so like why watch them, I guess. Watch Art of War. Do you know what? I interviewed the guy Jack Harper from Art of War, Jack Harpster, who did really well. I have never watched an Art of War battle report. A few people went over and watched some, I think, after I interviewed Jack, but I want to say definitely subscribe to his channel, but I think I interviewed him right before I was moving and stuff. I'm in the process of magnetizing the repulsor. Citadel Iron Warriors or armor paint and gunmetal are good paints, I guess, for dark grey. I don't plan on getting Warhammer Plus, it's a bit of a joke. Yeah, I think they should... I don't know if you were Hero Steel Rain when I said, I think for Warhammer Plus they should use it to be able to update the codexes more quicker. Like, make make Warhammer Plus, like make part of it like a subscription to like a monthly chapter approved. I like Vallejo metal color gunmetal in the 45ml bottle. I do like Vallejo paints. I have a couple of them. Mini Wargaming are the places that are the ones that I pay for. I've seen like a bunch of content on Twitter from Mini Wargaming. The Mini Wargaming Dave, is it the guy's name? But I haven't actually watched many of his battle reports. There's only one reason to buy Warhammer Plus, and that is to find out which custom glaze the girl uses on her black armor plate. Vanguard Tactics are probably the best in the UK for competitive. Yeah, do you know what? I also like to watch... oh, what's the channel name? I've forgotten everything while I've been away. It's going to come to me. Oh, who's the guy? Who's the guy that does the narrative battle reports? Oh, I can't believe I can't picture his name. Acreal, good evening. Tabletop Titans are good too, yep. And Winter SEO, thank you, yes, Winter. I've actually watched a lot of Winter's content. Did he talked about doing some live streams soon, about a month ago maybe now. Did he actually get around to doing the live streams? Winter, in his video, he said he was very worried about the YouTube algorithm because I guess he does this as his full-time job, and if he does like duff videos that don't do well and don't get views, then it impacts his life and his money. So I guess that's the trouble with YouTube. You can spend a lot of time making a video and you can make no money, or you can spend no time at all making a video and make plenty money. So I guess YouTube's fickle like that. I guess because I have a day job, it means that I can just try and make content that my members want, which is pretty cool. Like if I do a video and it gets no views, yeah, it's a bummer, but like it doesn't mean that I can't try stuff again, I guess. I like to play on the tabletop because I have time to watch 40-minute battle reports, not 2 hours. Yeah, I mean, that's something that I could do better. Like, we did that one battle that one time with the chess clocks, you know, like for a very quick battle report. And yeah, it takes an awful lot of time. Like, if I didn't have a full-time job, for sure I would take the 2.5 hour battles, 3 hour battles that we have and edit them down to like 40 minutes so people could enjoy them. But the editing alone takes about 5 hours, and I have about 1 hour free each week on top of making a video every week and doing the other streams that I do. So yeah, unless I'm on vacation, I really can't do that. Like vacation from my other job, I guess. It's just too time consuming to, yeah. When you have a 2-year-old, you'll know what time, what. Alright, we got like 4 more of these guys to get texture paint on, and then we'll do some real painting, I guess. Does anyone subscribe to DZTV, Drop Zone TV? I've seen it, but I'm not subscribed to Hit to Wound. And by the way, to Hit to Wound, thank you again for sending over these paintbrushes. I do not know where you got them all from, but they're very appreciated. I've still got a couple that are brand new. Camera's struggling to focus on that. So I am going to be using them soon. Once I find them, I have some brand new brushes, but I couldn't find them because I was moving. Things are just packed. I think being at the mercy of YouTube for your sole income is very scary. YouTube has way too much of a monopoly. Yeah, as much as I enjoy making this channel and enjoy having, you know, people watch the videos and all that sort of stuff, I don't know how I feel about like, I make nowhere near the amount of money I would need to do this full time, but I think doing it full time is very scary, because yeah, I think like Midwinter Minis basically said like he was doing a series on like Blackstone Fortress and he was really enjoying it, but he just couldn't do it anymore because it got no views, and like if you get no views you get no money, and you know, that's very, very scary. Midwinter's Mini had a good idea with 500 point battle reps with the misses. I didn't realise that Penny was Scottish. You know that? Her accent isn't overly Scottish, right? But I know who you're talking about, Midwinter Minis and Penny. I like Midwinter Minis. He's one of the channels that actually inspired me to start making videos. At some point I need to challenge him to a game. I think I could beat him. I'm not actually sure how competitive he is, right? Though, like he just does a lot of painting stuff, or does he play at a pretty high level? Does anyone? He challenged Henry Cavill to a game, right? I actually need to challenge Henry Cavill to a game as well, because Henry Cavill is going to be Highlander, I think, in the reboot, right? They're rebooting Highlander. I mean, to me, Highlander is a pretty great movie. It was always a bit weird in Highlander how they cast the Scottish guy, Sean Connery, as the Spaniard, and the French guy as the Scotsman. So I mean, that part of Highlander was a pretty bit weird. But Highlander is in like that golden age of 80s movies. In golden age of 80s movies was like some of my favorite movies ever are from the 80s. Terminator, Aliens, Predator, Highlander. So they're gonna cast Henry Cavill, who's not Scottish, as the Highlander. So I need to challenge him to a game and say there can only be one. If you lose, then I will be the Highlander. I guess you could do a short video on each battle report when you take an overhead picture each turn, put a movement arrow in discussion. Yeah, I think I did that on the tournament that I just played in. I'll definitely do it in the next tournament as well. That was one of the weird things, EXO. I spent ages on that tournament video actually, and that's a good example of like the YouTube algorithm, right? Like, I went 4-1 in that tournament. I thought I played really well. I very nearly went 5-0 with my Blood Angels mixed balanced list. I was very pleased with it. I thought I had a good thumbnail. I thought I had a good video. I spent a lot of time in that video. That video was an hour and a half long. It took me about 3 or 4 nights to make the slides for that video before we even start filming and talking about it. So that was a giant video. That video took me ages to make. Let's say like every night for a week, 2 hours, because that's usually how much time I get of an evening. And then like a couple of nights the following week. So I probably put like 15 or, yeah, let's say 15 hours. That seems fair. 15 hours into that video, maybe a little bit more actually. And I was convinced, I was like, this is going to be a great video. I was telling my wife, I was like, I've done so much work on this video. This video is going to break all the games I played in the tournament down. People are going to learn so much from this video. And I put it up on YouTube and it gets like 1,000 views and makes me like $3. And I've spent like 15 hours on it, you know. So basically at that point, like, I'm getting paid 20 cents an hour. I was like, all right, cool. That was totally worth it. But yeah, that's just the thing with YouTube. Have you ever considered painting blue Blood Angels? I mean, I've done my librarians in blue, Alan. I've got a Librarian and a Jump Pack in blue, and I've got a Librarian and Terminator Armor in blue, but like, and I guess I do blue helmets on heavy support guys, but no, I'm not. Beyond that, we are fully red, black, and gold on this channel. Henry can afford Forge World. Yeah, he definitely. Henry could probably buy Forge World with his with just like one of his movie checks. What movies has he been in? Mission Impossible. I saw him in another Superman. I'm sure I've seen him in something else recently as well. He's probably going to be the next James Bond. Good evening, Camille. How are you doing? Douglas says, how do you rank aggressors? I know they're definitely not brilliant, but are they viable? I like the models and want to try running them. What's the ideal loadout? So I have 6 aggressors that have the Bolt Storm gauntlets, and in the last edition, 8th edition, Bolt Storm gauntlets were amazing. However, right now, Bolt Storm gauntlets are shit. As Tony would say, they're literally shit. Like, there's almost no reason to run aggressors with Bolt Storm gauntlets. I think they're more expensive than the Flame variant as well. How do I rate them? I think you can make aggressors work. I think if you run them with the Flamers, they can be decent. There's toughness 5. You can't really charge them because they've all got double Flamer and they can Overwatch pretty effectively. I like aggressors for the points. If my 6 aggressors all had flame storms, I'd probably run them now and then, because in some ways that makes them very similar to Centurions. They're just not quite as overcosted as Centurions. If you want to think that Centurions are maybe a little bit overcosted, which I think they are. So aggressors with flame storms good, bolt storms bad. Yeah, my Bolt Storm guys will continue to warm the drawer that they are in probably until next edition. If I get finished my backlog, I would maybe buy some Flamestorm aggressors, but they're not super competitive unit right now. I think you can probably make them work as Flamestorm, but like they're not super competitive by any stretch of the imagination. Oh yeah, Witcher. He did Witcher and The Man from U.N.C.L.E. I haven't seen The Man from U.N.C.L.E. and I didn't really get into Witcher. I don't know. I'm not someone that's huge into TV shows. Maybe if there's a TV show from an IP that I'm interested in, yes. But like if it's a new IP that I'm not familiar with, then sometimes I just can't be bothered. I guess like I have so many IPs that I'm interested in, right? Like Marvel, Star Wars, Warhammer. What else do I like to watch? I like some science fiction shows and stuff like that. So I guess like if it's a brand new IP that I've never seen before, then it can be hard because it's like I've got so much other stuff going on. I think you get more views if you break the hour long into 15-minute chunks, like one video per game. We'll watch 15 minutes, 90 minutes. Yeah, you are right. Sometimes there may be a sweet spot where the videos are too long and people don't click on them because they're too long, I guess. I suppose in that sense that could have been 5 videos, which would have been nice to have 5 more videos for the channel. Maybe I'll do that next time, Exo. I appreciate the input, because yeah, you know, when a video doesn't get watches on YouTube doesn't tell you why. Just like you know, it literally pops up in the YouTube app, your video isn't performing as well. I was like, yeah, why? Because are you not showing it to people because of the algorithm, or is the video crap? You know, like it doesn't tell you anything. And I guess this is why people always talk about the mysterious YouTube algorithm. I guess for whatever reason YouTube don't want. Yeah, I don't even know. I don't even know why they wouldn't tell you. Like, hey, this video was too long. People didn't watch very much because it was too long, or people didn't click on it because it was too long, you know? Like, they have all the analytics. It'd be nice if they just told you. And then you would be like, alright, so tournament video is good, hour-long tournament video is bad. Okay, next time I won't make any hour-long videos. Hi BC, how do you rate a standard librarian with Galleon staff, smite, blood boil and shield? Feel like he can do some good damage and utility. So I ran Chief Mephisto and Librarian in the last 2 games I played, and Mephisto is okay. In the second video, or the second game, I think I ran him exactly as you said. Shield of Sanguinius, Blood Boil. What was my third power? Shield of Sanguinius. Oh, Shield of Sanguinius, Blood Boil, and Unleash Rage. And Blood Boil to me felt like okay. Kind of just limited by the range of 18 inches. Kind of the same as Smite. You know, like, with Smite, there's definitely turns in the game. Like, you're not just going to throw your Librarian forward, like, hey, my Librarian, here he is, shoot him or kill him, you know? Like, I tend to play my Librarians a little bit more defensively because you want them to survive for a few turns. So, there's kind of always a turn or two that they're not in range of Smite. So, if you're not in range of Smite, you're not in range of... If you're not in range of Smite, you're not in range of Blood Boil, so Blood Boil can potentially get wasted for at least, I would say at least 1 turn every battle. Maybe 2. So you need to factor that in. Shield of Sanguinius is fine. I mean, it's not as good as Psychic Fortress in my opinion, but it's fine. Unleash Rage was the clear winner when I ran that. I cast Unleash Rage on a 7-man squad of Sanguinary Guard, and they bursted 10 additional attacks when they were in combat. So for me, in terms of getting damage out of that Librarian setup like that, or in my case it was Mephisto. In the case of getting damage out of Mephisto, the most damage came when we cast a successful Unleash Rage. So that was the most valuable power in my opinion. Blood Boil seemed good on paper, and I mean I talked about it a few weeks back. I guess Galleon Staff gives you +1 to casts. So I mean it's okay. I don't think it's... Yeah, I think it's okay. Like I don't think it's going to be a mega damage dealer, but I think if you just need to do like a couple of mortal wounds every turn, then I think it's okay. Have I used my £10 voucher yet? I have not used it because I've been moving house all week and just been so busy. But you're right. Free shipping dropped at Games Workshop. The amount to spend for free shipping means that you basically don't save any money at all. Yeah, so you basically have to buy 1 model, absorb the like 3 or 4 pound shipping cost, and maybe save like $1 or something over someone like Element Games. Yeah, I mean I guess because it's such a poor deal, Doom, I haven't been in a rush to spend it. I don't know what. I mean, I may have even not spend it. Acriel actually took part in a 1500 point tournament last week, went 2-1 and won against the Dark Angels, but DG and Tau just melted me. Almost one-hit Mortarion with a Redemptor though. Have you joined his membership Discord? Whose membership Discord? Sorry. Yeah, Psychic Mastery is probably the better choice if you want to do damage, right? Because then that would affect your Smite as well, whereas the Galleon Staff isn't going to affect the Smite. That is a very good point. What does Galleon Staff give you beyond the +1 to Sanguinary powers? Anything? I feel like, it's just a slightly better staff in combat, isn't it? I think Mastery is worth it on the staff. Yeah, I mean, getting +2 to all your psychic casts I could be on board with, but again, I don't think Blood Boil does a whole ton of damage. I think it does a bit of damage, but not much. The 2nd edition Death Company box, they're all sprayed black, so they're not like not on sprue. They're all put together. They're all sprayed black. I knew I had a bunch of old Death Company models, I just didn't know I still had the red box that they came in, which I was pretty pleased to find, actually. Striking Scorpion 82. Okay. I think someone, Highland Phoenix, was speaking about Striking Scorpion 82 the other night, saying that he'd moved something back to YouTube or something, because he had his own streaming website, I think, before. Did you guys see that they made the draw for the Plastic Crackheads tournament? I am up against the Necrons in the first round, and if I beat the Necrons, then I play against the winner of one of 3 games. It's like I'll be playing against Knights or Dark Angels or Orcs. Basically, whoever comes out top in that like 3-way matchup. Did I miss I feel like I missed somebody's question, but if shit, don't knock the paint over. If you have a question, please just ask it again. If I miss a question or something and you think it's important, just ask it again. When I'm doing these, when the texture paint, it can be quite delicate to not end up getting it all over their feet and stuff like that. It doesn't exactly sit in the brush very, very nicely, I guess. But yeah, we'll have to see Highland Phoenix about these gloves, because this room is very, very warm, which is nice. I turned off the heating when I moved into this house on the Monday, and so the heating's been down at like 15 or 16 degrees, and like it just doesn't. This house just doesn't need any heating, I guess. We've had some problems on the move in, but we're getting there. I think another week or two. Had to change like a light fitting that was like this stupid light that dangles from the roof. I was like swearing and cursing. I was like, why not just have a normal friggin' bulb that you can just change in like 2 seconds flat? It took me like an hour and a half to change this bulb, and I had to go, or change this light, and I had to go all the way to B&Q to get like a different fitting. And I was like, oh my god, like it's basically like, I don't know, a pretentious light fitting, I guess, like some fancy looking light fitting that's like, oh, this is an LED circuit board. I was like, are you joking me? I think I bashed it when I moved in with a box and I broke it, so it's kind of my own fault, but you know, it was hanging from the roof and I didn't realise where it was hanging. Have you thought about Calixtus Assassin? I assume you mean Calidus Assassin and the Relical of Gathbor had a game against Grey Knights and literally smited themselves. Oh, you mean the Calixtus Assassin. You've kind of gone halfway between Calidus and Calixtus with your spelling, but that's okay. I'm not a great speller either. I'll forgive you on that strange spelling of Calixtus. Yeah, I mean, -3 to psychic test within 18 inches is pretty strong. It's pretty situational, but I guess against certain enemies it's going to be pretty strong, right? Hard to take that into a tournament though, because if you take that into a tournament and then you're up against no psyker, it's kind of wasted, isn't it? Don't drop the model, John. Okay. Have you thought, I mean, you lowered the amount to spend on GW. I was going to get some Turians, but I only saved £3 since they lowered shipping. I got an apothecary and consider it a good deal. Yeah, I mean, that's what I was thinking as well. You almost need to just buy one character that you don't have. Like, maybe I should just go ahead and buy Seth, because I've never owned Seth. And like, then I would probably end up getting him for like under $10 because the shipping costs and stuff like that. moving house is like hitting yourself in the nuts with a thunder hammer. That's how that's a good example. That's a good description of how I felt this week. I would agree with that. It's just been one thing after another, but even more multiplied by the fact that my wife hasn't been able to be as much help as she wants, because she's not 30 weeks pregnant. I think she must be like 29 weeks pregnant, so she shouldn't be able to help as much as she'd want. And then the 2-year-old needs constant monitoring. So we've only had babysitting for a couple of days. So in the days that we've not had babysitting, it's been pretty difficult. I already have pre-ordered. I've pre-ordered a wet palette X07. It is. I actually got an email about it saying that it was a Kickstarter one, the Red Grass wet palette or something. I got a Kickstarter email while I was moving, I think, saying that the pledge manager will be up soon, so I will have one soon. Striking Scorpion helped me get back into the hobby again. I remember watching his 1.5 hour long Blood Angels painting video multiple times. Wow, okay, I didn't realise he had an 1.5 hour long one. I'm gonna just stick a... Whoa. Oh. There we go. What consists of your army right now? I did a video just on Friday, I think. I'm not sure what your name is there. Arch one. I did a video on Friday of me making an army list. Like, the whole video is basically just me making an army list, and it's for a tournament that's being played over on the Plastic Crackheads channel. Do you know what? Some of the games might actually end up on this channel as well. If we're filming the games on Monday night, they might be on this channel. So, yeah, my army list is. You basically just watch the video from Monday. The video was called "Normal Service Will Resume," and like after I talk for about 5 minutes, I get into my current army list, which off the top of my head is like a captain, a librarian, and a tech marine, 2 redemptors, sanguinary guard, terminators, attack bikes, inceptors, incursors, company veterans, eliminators, maybe something else. But you can go and see me make the whole list, and I justify all my choices. Hopefully, if you, I see you're tuning in for Twitch, Archie. So head over to YouTube, and if you just search YouTube for Blood Angels Commander or BA Commander, either or, we'll find the channel instantly. And yeah, if you just look at my latest video, I think it was called Normal Service Rules Zoom. That will give you... is that wrong? Is it this gun? Yeah. Okay. I got a question. What's the point of Lamartis? Because I don't really see it. Is it the charge rerolls, a standard chaplain and a bite does the rest? Because Death Company is core. I think Lamartis. I think you probably had more point in a previous edition. In this edition, some of our named characters have kind of been left a little bit. I don't know. They've just not been left in the greatest state. Hopefully, at some point, they'll revisit and fix some of our named characters. They definitely need a bit of love, I feel like. In the previous editions, Lamartis used to let you re-roll your charges and re-roll all your hits for your Death Company. He was actually really strong. He was kind of core for the Death Company for a long period of time, but I guess he's maybe just fallen off a bit. Have I got any servitors? I do have a squad of servitors, actually. Highland Phoenix. I've got 2 with the heavy bolters, so I suppose I could buy a couple of squads of servitors with my £10 voucher. I just don't know. I mean, you know, I was putting texture paint on company veterans earlier, and like I've got company veteran. Here's a company veteran that I just put texture paint on with a double chainsword, and you know the thing I like about the company veterans, especially like a double chainsword one, you know, like he's He's just 20 points, I guess. 2 wounds, 3 up save, but like, how many attacks does he get? He can get 6 attacks, right? Because he's got double chainsword. 6 attacks is pretty good for a 20-point model. Servitors are expensive, yeah. I maybe missed it, but how come I'm using Terminators? I thought they were slow. Yes, Terminators are very slow, and that's one of the reasons that playing them can feel a bit difficult, or some people, I guess some people don't think I should be using Terminators, and we could probably run like 2 squads of Sanguinary Guard and probably do more damage, but like the way I'm using Terminators in my list is I'm trying to have something that's like very durable, that I can leave somewhere on the board by himself. They don't need any backup, and they can just hold an objective, they can kill some vehicles. And I do take the teleport homer on them, so you can redeploy them if you need to, you know? So yeah, I've run the Terminators like 2 or 3 times now, maybe even 4 times. And I run against a lot of armies that are designed to kill Marines, and I guess what I mean by that is like a lot of them seem to be running a lot of weapons that do 2 damage, and I guess against 2 damage weapons Terminators are pretty good, right? Because essentially they have 4 wounds against 2 damage weapons, right? Because every time you do 2 damage to them, they're left with 1 wound, so you have to do another 2 damage to them to kill them. So in my experiences against all these sort of anti-Marine lists that are designed to do 2 damage against a lot of Marines, then Terminators are actually kind of useful. Maybe it'll come back to bite me and it'll have been the wrong choice. You know, like I'm not infallible. I make the wrong choices now and then, but I have been enjoying the Terminators. And hey Archie, thank you so much for following. Speaking of Terminators, here are some that I did earlier that we'll put some actual paint on here in a minute. And these are some old metal ones as well. Some of these ones are the chain fists. These are old models. Have you thought about running more than 1 squad in your list? Yes. The tournament in November, and the tournament is the week. Let me see how many weekends. 1, 2, 3. So the tournament is actually 3 weeks today. I am tempted to run 2 squads of Sanguinary Guard. I think I've worked out the points. I have enough points for a 7-man and a 6-man, and I am pretty tempted. I haven't run 2 squads of Sanguinary Guard in a long time. I used to advocate on this channel not to run multiple squads of Sanguinary Guard. Like, I made it a big deal, like, don't run 2 squads of Sanguinary Guard. I don't think it's strong right now. So I'd be kind of going against my own advice. But I am half tempted. I'm going to change this water because look at this with all the texture paint in it. I'll be back in literally 30 seconds. Give me 1 sec. Stephen from Vanguard Tactics does a great video on learning to use your army. Use only 3 or so data sheets for the whole army and try not to use stratagems and just learn basics. You think that's a good way? Stephen really likes to simplify things, and like, I mean, he's guided a lot of people to a lot of victories, right? So like, don't let me. And I don't know how many people I've guided to victories. I think I have guided one person to tournament victory. So it's hard for me to knock Stephen, but I do think he makes things. He tries to make things simple so people can learn, which I guess makes sense. But I guess it's his style. I guess it's just not quite for me. But I mean, yeah, don't get me wrong. I think I'm sure that if you use Stephen's ideas, that you will win games, and he does give out some great advice. So. Do people use swords or axes for Sanguinary Guard? 50-50 is 100% the best option. I don't like the Cyclone Missile Launcher. It's just expensive, and I mean it's D6 damage, so it's hard to know. It's hard to know if it's reliable. Maybe I need to make like a simple YouTube video. Yeah, a short that is just Sanguinary Guard, swords versus axes, go. 1 minute. I could do that. Seems like every week someone asks swords versus axes. Do Terminators have the same size than the new kits? I was asking about the size of their minis, not the base. This is a metal Terminator on the right. This is a plastic Terminator on the left. So the metal ones are a good... I don't have a problem with Vanguard Veterans and Lightning Claws. I think if you want to run them effectively, like, you need a way to reroll the hits of the Lightning Claws. I mean, you don't have to have it, but I think it helps a lot. I mean, they're definitely more survivable than Sanguinary Guard, you know, because the 4-up and run save. And they sort of provide similar damage output if you can give them rerolls for hits. They're good against things that are -1 damage. That's what Sanguinary Guard are weak against. So that, I mean, that's why I advocated taking like 1 squad of Sanguinary Guard and 1 squad of Vanguard Veterans and not 2 Sanguinary Guard, right? Because Sanguinary Guard are weak against things that are -1 damage, like Death Guard. And also Death Guard kind of counter Sanguinary Guard pretty heavily because they have a lot of decent AP stuff, so very quickly your Sanguinary Guard are like saving on 5s, whereas the Vanguard Veterans would save on 4s. I think in a strategy where the Vanguard Veterans are a core part of the list and they're going to be well supported by other characters, then I think that works fine. The problem, I guess, in my list is they're not. I want to run Vanguard Veterans and have them off on one flank, unsupported. And when they're unsupported, they can get picked off pretty quickly, I guess. I mean, they are just a 2-wound Marine, yeah, they have a slightly better save, but like, you know, bottom line is they are just a 2-wound Marine. If the enemy want to kill them, they can kill them pretty fast. The metal ones are nicer sculpts. Well, this guy here is actually one of these Space Marine hero sculpts, you know, where he's like standing on a bit of terrain and stuff, and I think these sculpts are pretty nice. I mean, the old metal ones they're nice, but yeah, I mean, I think like some of these Space Marine hero ones are pretty nice as well. I like both the metal and the plastic. Literally oldest metal Terminator right there. Yeah, I got some even older Highland. I got some Rogue Trader Terminators, and they make that guy look really good. The Rogue Trader ones kind of look, I don't want to say they look terrible, but they look old, and they're not very uniform at all, I guess. I don't know what that little symbol you typed means, Marcus. Hey Benno, how's it going? Yeah, it's going well. Moved house. Took me forever to get set up to stream, but we are streaming now. And it's not freezing cold. It's quite warm. So, quite happy, yeah. It's been a busy week though. And I got a lot. Well, I'm never going to finish the painting on these guys before this tournament that's coming up. But what I will do is at least get a good amount of colours onto them that they look well. They look good enough to be used in a tournament, I guess. Tempted to make the Space Hulk models? Yeah, by all means. I never actually got myself a copy of that Space Hulk. I was thinking about trying to grab one on eBay. But yeah, the Space Marine Hero models, I like them. I think they're quite cool. I bought like a bunch of them. You can find them pretty cheap on eBay. I was finding them for like £3-4 a model, which you think of like a Terminator squad is like $30. £3-4 for a single Terminator. Sure, they're not very customizable, but as long as you know what you're looking for and buy the ones you're looking for, I think it's pretty good. I like the Harpster list: 3 quads of Sangre Guard and 10 Vanguard veterans. Yeah, I understand that list, Steel Rain. I think it's throwing an awful lot of eggs into one basket, and I think on see, I've been to some tournaments where the terrain cover is super light, so if you end up at a tournament where terrain cover is super light, you're gonna have a bad time on that list. Like, I've been to tournaments where they've got like 4 pieces of terrain on the board. I think a list like that, just, yeah, like, I'd almost want to rage quit that tournament if I had made a list like Jack's and then came to a tournament like that. I guess as things move on, if Games Workshop could agree on a more standard tournament terrain, and I guess that's what they've kind of been trying to do a little bit in their US Open series, if they could actually do that like worldwide, that would be pretty interesting to me, I guess. And I think, yeah, I mean, I guess the problem is that, like, I just don't know if we'll ever get there. What do you think of the Joy Toy Death Company? We spoke about them a little bit earlier, James. I think they're pretty cool. I might get them. I think the last set was about $80, so maybe. I've just been saying after doing all this house moving that I don't want to fill the house up with crap. And I mean, technically that's not crap, but technically I have enough model soldiers that do I really need 4 bigger ones that are going to fill up more space? I have a bunch of stuff that's lying on the floor behind me because even I haven't figured out a place to put all this stuff yet. Or yeah, I probably just already have too much Warhammer stuff. Ever since our Codex and 9th Star, that is the most optimal build for Blood Angels. You just get bored of if you hit bad terrain, you're in trouble. Yeah, I don't know if I think it's the most optimal build. I mean, it's the most optimal build in terms of doing damage, right? Is it the most optimal build in terms of winning games, though? Because, I mean, I've run builds like that. Yeah, I mean, I've run builds like that all the way through 8th edition, and my win rate has never been as high as it is now, and I don't think I think I've got a little bit of a better player since doing this channel, for sure. But like, have I got like 100% of a better player? No way. You know, like maybe I've got like 10-15% better, but like I've got to a point where like it doesn't. Apart from one game against Dukari and one game against Admech in Thousand Suns in the last 6 months, like I've not lost any games. Like I played Andrew's sisters so many times, and just every single time, I think. Do you know what? I think he beat me once, right? Like I think I was on like a 17 game streak or something. And he beat me once, and he was dead chuffed about it. I was like, okay, you finally did it. You beat me once. There should be standard terrain for each mission. Do you know what? That might be an interesting idea, where like the missions actually come with like a list of possible terrain options, and maybe you roll a d6 or something, and based on the, I mean, that's kind of what the WTC tournament stuff is, right? Where they have a list of terrain options based on each mission. I think it's good. I think it would be better. You can never have too much Blood Angels, says Discard Reality. Thanks for tuning in, Discard. Nice to see you. Yeah, I don't think I've got too much Blood Angels. I guess I don't have enough room. I don't know. We're gonna have to figure out where stuff's going. I don't think I've got room in this room for another shelving unit, which I might need to try and figure out. It's no longer. I know you've coined that. I need, once we get to 10,000 subscribers, Highland Phoenix, maybe that's the t-shirt we make, because you keep coining, you keep saying that. Good evening, Ager. Good evening, Dex. How you guys doing? Collectible figures are nice, but they just take up space. Yeah, I mean, I already got like two. I got two super heavy tanks. They take up a lot of space. And unfortunately, the drawers that I have that I store my models in at the moment, the super heavies don't fit in there. My dreadnoughts don't fit in those drawers either. So maybe I just need to get better drawers. I wasn't being cute today, taking some photos of drawers for the new house. Maybe I need to get better drawers for this room. What do you think about Harper's style list with dual contemptors? Been working on a list I might submit. Yeah, I mean, if your list, I think dual contemptors is probably all you need for fire support, right? Like, they're generally just very, very efficient for the points costs. I feel so much more comfortable running some shooting over no shooting. So yeah, I think I could be a lot more on board with that Steel Rain if it's like 2 or 3 squads of Sanguinary Guard, 1 squad of Vanguard veterans, and then like double Relic Contemptor. I mean, that, because here's the thing, right? Like, in my list, I run 2 Redemptors. At least in this next tournament, I'm running 2 Redemptors, and in the other tournament that I've got, I might run something completely different. But I guess the point is, if the enemy are trying to kill your dreadnoughts, which they will be if the dreadnoughts are dishing out mortal wounds every turn, the enemy are trying to kill your dreadnoughts, and dreadnoughts aren't that easy to kill now, but with Duty Eternal and in the case of Relic Contemptors, they have a 5-up invulnerable save, right? So dreadnoughts aren't the easiest to kill. So if they're trying to kill your dreadnoughts and they're wasting firepower on them, and your Sanguinary Guard can bounce around the board indiscriminately killing things while the dreadnoughts are soaking up the firepower, then the points you spent on the dreadnoughts are probably worth it. Like, you don't need the dreadnoughts to do any damage, you just need them to soak the damage, right? If they soak a bunch of damage that doesn't go into your Sangard, because let's face it, like I talk a lot about, I think Sangard aren't survivable enough. I think if any enemy knows Blood Angel as well, and they put a lot of firepower into your Sandguard are pretty easy to kill. Any -3 weapon or above makes Sandguard like... It almost makes it impossible to make saves with Sandguard if you can hit them with -3, right? Because like you don't save reliably on 5s enough, I guess, to say like... I don't think you can sit and say, oh, Sandguard are a really survivable unit. No, I mean, I think you can say their 2-up save is good, but the enemy are always going to have things that can cut through a 2-up save, and because they've got no invulnerable save, the enemy player just needs to be aware of like, oh, the Sandguard don't do that well against -3, so I'll shoot my -3 weapons at the Sandguard, I guess. I think that'd be a fair assessment. IKEA have more options. How do I keep dust off my models? By putting them in trays that I was just saying, like, you know, the sort of trays that you might store like notes in, I guess. I have all mine in trays that I got in like B&Q and stuff, but yeah, you might store like A4 paper or something in these trays, and you just pull the tray out of like a stack, and like I guess if you can get deep ones, you can also, like, I guess in any hardware store they're probably going to sell trays that they would expect you to put like nuts and bolts and screws and stuff into, or maybe some power tools. That sort of thing is very good for keeping the models non-dusty, I guess. But yeah, I 100% need to get some new ones, I guess. Do you think a ridiculous number of Hellblasters? I think I have 35. I wanted to make a silly list to beat my Death Guard friend. What else would you throw in? Hellblasters aren't that good against Death Guard, right? Because Death Guard are almost -1 damage. So I guess your overpowered plasmas are kind of irrelevant against Death Guard. I mean, I guess you can not overpower them. But I feel like if you're building a list to fight against Death Guard, you probably want to avoid picking 2 damage weapons. Just because they all get neutered, I guess. When we talk on the live show about fighting against Death Guard, I usually recommend you go for 3 damage weapons. I usually recommend you have like well, I think 15 is probably taking it one step further, but like, I reckon you need 10 3 damage weapons in a 2k list to really be effective at killing Death Guard. That's sort of my opinion. Do I think Sanguinary Guard and Dante will get an update? I assume you mean a Primaris update, and I've been wanting that for a while. I made a video about it like 3 months ago. I think that the Black Templar box that just came out maybe even provides like more hope that might happen, because like if Black Templars are getting it, why would we not get it? But like time frame, I have no idea what the time frame is on that. I mean, only Games Workshop can tell you. Assault Hellblasters will piss off Death Guard. I mean, I guess the strength 6 -4 1 damage will be okay, yeah. I guess if you hit them with a bunch of Assault Hellblasters, that'd be okay. Just 2 damage is definitely not good against Death Guard. It's just wasted. Which is a little bit sad. Funny list against Death Guard is the full first company with the Captain Carlian and Terminator Librarian. I mean, The other problem with getting in melee of Death Guard is that they're going to basically make you toughness 3, which means that they can wound you that much easier. But I mean, Death Guard usually wound us pretty reliably anyway, I guess. I've just finished 6 Plasma Inceptors, not sure how they will get on. Any tips? I mean, put them into reserve or put them into deep strike at the beginning of the battle, bring them in within 18 inches, sorry, bring them in within 6 inches of somebody or something that's going to let them reroll their ones, then probably pay this 1 CP for Descent of the Angels to let them get +1 to hit. So you'll hit on 2s, you'll reroll your 1s, and you'll get a ton of damage out of them that way. Plasma Inceptors, although they're expensive, I think they're very competitive still. I like Plasma Inceptors in general. I actually have never run Plasma Inceptors myself. I've played against them a bunch of times, but I've never actually run them myself. But I think Inceptors in general are good. I run the Bolter ones. Yeah, I mean, who knows when Dante's going to go Primaris, but it might be next edition at this point, because I feel like they still have a lot of models to get through this edition in terms of, or a lot of armies still waiting on their codexes and stuff, right? I guess COVID has slowed everything down, but it's probably... don't drop the models. It's probably a bit slower than we all anticipated, I'd say. Maybe that's part... You know, people were saying like they haven't got that much content out on Warhammer Plus. Maybe it partly... You know, it's all just everything this year is slower than people had wanted it to be, I guess. I made my own Dante out of Sanguinary Guard, so he's not tiny. Wargame exclusive has a great model for Dante. Got quite lucky with my Inceptors. Once in a squad of 3, blasted my brother's Riptide to pieces. Yeah, I can imagine. Inceptors. I think Inceptors are pretty great. Edgy75 says I built 10 Terminators this evening. Black Templar Terminators. You sucker, man. The only thing in black that should be on this channel is Death Company. But yeah, I'm jealous that Black Templar's got this big release. But do you know what? I guess we have to look at it positively, that if Black Templar's got a giant release like that, who's to say Blood Angels won't get a large release in the future? Black Templar's got a bunch of... I think they said it was 13 new models and it was like 4 new characters. If we could just get our old characters updated, like 4 of them, that would be amazing. Because our old characters are... they're anything but amazing at the moment, I guess. So I think on Monday night this week I'm going to have a game against Tau. And I actually don't know if I've ever played Tau on the channel before. I don't know if Tau are in a great spot right now in 9th. I feel like they aren't. But my inexperience against Tau will probably balance the game out. I've had some horrible games against Tau in the past as well. Like their Overwatch can be very good against a full, you know, we talk about Jack Harpster's list. Well, I guess Tau aren't prevalent in the meta. Once Tau are back in the meta, how do you beat Tau with that full army list? Because if you try and charge anything, they can Overwatch you with half their army and they can hit on 5s, you know? I mean, you can stop that with the Whirlwind, but that's just a single charge. Or a single unit, I guess. Dante dies and he's coming back is like Bill Murray from Groundhog Day. Man, I've not seen Groundhog Day in a long time. Death Guard is a bad matchup for us in general. I mean, I don't think Death Guard is a bad matchup in general. I've played Death Guard a lot. And I pretty much never lose to Death Guard. Like, I feel like Death Guard are kind of one-dimensional, right? They either have to take Mortarion and like put all their eggs in that basket, and if you kill Mortarion, then they kind of lose the game just because there was such a big point investment. And if they don't take Mortarion, then they're kind of slower, and we just use our speed around. Like I'm not scared of Death Guard at all. I feel like maybe I've just got their number, but yeah, I don't necessarily feel Death Guard are a bad matchup. I feel like you want to build a balanced list in 9th edition anyway, right? So like if you want to build that balanced list, then you need to have like 10 3 damage weapons in it. If you have that, then I think you can fight and beat Death Guard every single time. But I don't like fighting into Death Guard with that full melee list. I don't run a full melee list. You guys know that. I run a balanced list, and I think a full melee list into Death Guard like that, I think that's pretty rough. I don't know how you beat Death Guard with full melee list, honestly. But with the balanced list, I don't find them difficult to deal with at all. We can really use our movement against them. That, yeah, 100%. Use your movement. Choose the charges. The only problem I think is if Death Guard run the Foul Blight spawn, then a full melee list is kind of screwed against them. Just because you end up not being able to charge who you want to charge, and that could be a big problem. Land speeders and suppressors can't stop Overwatch as well. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how common land speeders are to stop Overwatch, and I know that I tried to run suppressors a couple of times. They're okay. I just don't think suppressors are strong enough for their points cost to like justify bringing them in every game, I guess. I don't dislike suppressors, I just don't think they're strong. Have I seen any new NID rules? I have not seen new NID rules. I haven't seen basically anything Warhammer. I've been moving house since Monday, and we only sat down about 8 o'clock tonight for about 45 minutes before we had to do my daughter's bath time, so I am completely out of the loop on just about everything this week. But we are moved house, and going forward, hopefully get back into the loop a bit more, so to speak. You have to overcommit against Death Guard. You have to make sure you kill what you engage, and that's an issue for some players. Yeah, I mean, I guess, and that can also be an issue with if they have a lot of Terminators set up correctly positioned around like a foul blight spawn with a lot of poxwalkers. Yeah, that can be very, very, very difficult for Blood Angel's army to deal with. I'm not convinced I could beat it if I was running that full melee list, like, and I mean, that's kind of one of the reasons I don't run the full melee list is I think there's a few armies that just counter it pretty well, and if you come up against them, you just can't. Against a competent player, you just can't win the game, right? I guess I never want to have an army where I feel like I can't win the game, or I never want to be in a situation where, like, you know, as well as I play, it doesn't matter. You can't win the game, and if that's how you, if that's where your army is, or if that's where you feel you are, then I guess what I advise is like change your list. Like, every game needs to be winnable, right? Are you planning on running the Terminators? Maybe. I mean, I'm running them in one of the tournaments. So I've got 2 tournaments coming up. Terminators are going to be run in one. Thank you, Mike. Congratulations on the new house. Yeah, is the room warmer? Yes, the whole house is quite a bit warmer. I mean, the old house was built in 1874. The new house was built in 2018. So that's literally, what, like 144 years difference? So I guess in 144 years of house building, we learned an awful lot about insulation and... Yeah, I mean, this house, I guess the insulation is literally as good as it can be. So yeah, it feels very warm. Even with the heating off, it feels very warm. How do you think Suppression Fire will get on against Tau? I mean, it'll be useful for sure. I actually don't know. Maybe someone in the channel here knows the interaction. If you Suppression Fire a Tau unit, can other units still Overwatch? Or by Suppression Fire and preventing the Overwatch, that basically stops the whole Overwatch Tau mechanic? I have no idea, actually. I imagine somebody will know and keep me right here. Suppression Fire is very good against Tau. Okay. Angel Sacrifice is useful as well. You just have to overcommit and sacrifice the unit. Have you fought in against the Revolting Stench Vats though? Steel Rain, where you don't get any bonuses to your charge, so you don't get your Red Thirst, you don't get your +1 attack from Shock Assault, you don't get your +1 attack from Savage Echoes. You basically just, it's like you're fighting them, but you never charge them. I think that is, I mean, maybe my problem is when I come up against that, I just generally don't charge into that bubble because I'm too scared, and like maybe I should still charge, but I feel like without our additional 2 attacks, for example, like if you look at Sanguinary Guard, so you lose 2 attacks, you lose +1 to wound, you lose your additional point of AP. Like, it's just an awful lot to lose, and then still charge in like, yeah, I'm gonna win this combat. Excuse me. Greater Good still works though. Okay, interesting. Because suppressors are a very strange unit. I honestly don't know what Games Workshop were trying to do with suppressors, because when they first announced them, they made such a big deal. They were like, oh, it's going to be Marines, and they're going to fly, and they're going to have autocannons. And then they came out, and their rules were poor, and then like no one's using them. And they tried to give them like a small buff, but I guess the buff was just too small that like still no one's using them. I tried them like in 2 battles, I think, this edition, and I just didn't feel like they provided enough value to continue to use them. What's the best glue for using with the grass and stuff for your bases? Is it fine to use super glue or should I be using something else? I think a lot of people tend to use PVA glue for bases and grass and stuff like that. I don't do bases with... I use the Games Workshop texture paint, so I'm definitely not the best person to ask, but a channel that does a lot of good bases is Midwinter Minis. And also, I'm sure some people in the chat here as well will answer on what glue is best for bases. But PVA definitely seems like is a popular choice. I don't know if it's the best, but it's popular. You can beat Stetchvant Star, but you have to Angel Sacrifice and commit more than 1 melee unit. You also have to be careful about when you're doing it. Yeah, maybe I just play too defensively against it. Steel Rain, I appreciate the comments though. I think it can just, the Revolting Stench Vat on paper, I guess, is just like a direct counter to everything good that Blood Angels do. So if you've got a unit in the enemy that directly counters you, I guess it can be just scary to be like, yeah, this unit directly counters me, but I'm going to charge him anyway, right? So I guess if you're not willing to do that, which I guess is usually what happens with me, I feel like this unit directly counters me, so I'm like, yeah, I'm scared to charge this unit. What's your most okay painted mini? What do you mean by most okay? Will your Tau opponent be using Far Sight Enclaves? I'm actually not sure. Do you know what, Riziel, he sent me the list. I can post it up on Discord, and we can have a look at it. Well, we can discuss it obviously tomorrow, and we can discuss it before the game on Monday. I'll post it. I will post it up after the stream if I remember, and if I don't remember, then I will post it up reasonably early tomorrow, I guess. Exclamation mark Discord. Yeah, okay, yeah, you can join the Discord this way. I wasn't sure if it was going to work on Twitch. I didn't remember if the bot responded on Twitch as well, but apparently it does. We do need to get a better bot though. This one is... Sure, I was like, I'm going to be on vacation. I'm going to have time to look at that. I've been on vacation and literally... I've had no vacation. Like, I've been on vacation the whole week and it's just been moving boxes, cleaning out stuff, going to the dump. One thing we can do with Stench Vats, fight twice against units you didn't charge with Assault Intercessors. I guess, are Assault Intercessors that... You know, like, are they that core in people's lists? Like, I don't run assault intercessors all that often. I wasn't sure I felt like they were that core. Or that legit, I guess, or that good, or whatever you want to call that. What is my most well-painted model? I mean, I like my chapter master on a bike, but I mean, I've got this model right here, which I'm pretty pleased with. This one's the model that took the longest. In comparison, can't even hardly fit like one cannon under the camera. I may run the super heavy tank in the next tournament. You wait. I kind of want to win a tournament with the super heavy tank. I think it'd be quite fun to win the tournament using it as a Blood Angel. Because most people are like, Blood Angels can't shoot. Like, well, we can shoot almost as good as all other Space Marine chapters. We're just maybe not as commonly shooters, but we can shoot just fine. I have 5 assault intercessors on my list always now. Reserving them is just too good. I was actually going to ask about that, Steel Rain. So if I'm going to run my super heavy tank in this tournament, then I'm going to run a battalion, right? Because the super heavy tank is kind of CP hungry, I guess. I mean, it's not as CP hungry as it was. It's just going to cost me 2 CP now, whereas before it cost 4. But still, it's 2 CP for 1 unit. So, because you need the auxiliary detachment, and then you also need the martial legacy, right? If I'm gonna reserve a squad of assault intercessors, do you just reserve them with chain swords, or do you give the sergeant like a thunderhammer or a power sword or something? Like, how you got them armed, and how are you using them? Are you just bringing them on and going for a charge or something, or are you bringing them on to do actions as well sometimes? Jesus Christo, that's big. Yes, the super heavy tank is pretty big. I think the tournament I'm going to is going to have pretty light terrain. That's why I was half considering running it, because if there's light terrain, it's difficult to hide from the super heavy tank, and the super heavy tank, if it sees you, it kills you basically. And it kills you very, very effectively. With a tech marine there, basically against Andrew's buggy list, it basically kills 300 or 400 points of buggies every turn. So the super heavy tank alone over the course of the game will, if you just ignore it and it gets to shoot for 5 turns straight, it'll kill like 2,000 points worth of models, and that's just the one tank. Hard to stick with the big vehicles with all the little bits to paint. Yeah, I mean, big vehicles can be pretty fun though. They're pretty rewarding when they're finished, and they can make great centerpieces for your army, right? Alright, we're about 10 minutes to midnight. I am going to be doing more unpacking tomorrow, so I ain't staying up late tonight. So I got about 10 more minutes tonight. I'm going to be live tomorrow though for our live show, which is 4 o'clock, and we look at army lists for about 2 hours typically. So if you want to come hang out tomorrow about 4 o'clock UK time and talk about army lists, that's something that we do every Sunday on this channel. So both on Twitch, we'll be live on both Twitch and YouTube. I've never seen one in person, so the disparity in size is staggering. Yeah, it's about 8 inches wide, I think. And it's probably about 12 or 15 inches long, I imagine. The super heavy tank is pretty crazy. Thunderhammer, if I have the points, they do what they need to. If I'm worried about deep strike or fast stuff in reserve, they can do actions. Very versatile. I bought a Fellblade this week, says EXO. Nice. How many wounds does that super heavy tank have? 26 wounds, toughness 8. 2+ save. So I mean, it has one weakness and it has no invuln, but I mean, there's ways you can give it an invuln. Shield of Sanguinius. Actually, Shield of Sanguinius, does that need to be core now? Or is it just Blood Angel's unit? I actually don't know. So if it is Shield of Sanguinius, then the only way you can give it an invuln is with Psychic Fortress? Can Blood Angels make use of a knight? Yeah, I mean, you can make use of a knight. The only thing you would lose if you took a knight is Savage Echoes, right? You would still get to keep your normal doctrines, you would still get to keep your chapter tactic. I believe you just lose the Savage Echoes, like the quote-unquote super doctrine. Which, if paired with the right knight, would probably be okay to lose. Oh, thanks, Mark. Yeah, I mean, I kind of wanted to get on and do some streaming anyway, Mark, because I dearly want to charge an Astraeus with a Leviathan and see what happens. Astraeus isn't. I was going to say its void shields won't work in melee, so it's not going to be. It's not going to be quite as good as you would hope in melee, I guess. The Astraeus, right? I have a whole knight army and it'd be sweet to swap one in. Yeah, like maybe I always thought that like is it the Crusader that has like the I'm sure it is the Crusader that has like the Gatling cannon? Or is it the rapid fire battle cannon? I always feel like a rapid fire battle cannon with a Blood Angels list would be pretty good. In some ways that's just similar to running like a Fellblade or a Falchion, right? Shield of Sanguinius works because it doesn't have the core restriction, just Blood Angels. Okay, thank you. So yeah, you can make the Fellblade or the Falchion work similar to the Knight. I guess the thing about the Knight is you've got a smaller footprint, right? So it's potentially easier to move around the battlefield. But you can't use a Tech Marine. Can you? No, because the Tech Marine wouldn't be able to. It's not going to have the Blood Angels. It's not going to have the right keyword to be able to give it +1 to hit. Whereas, like the Super Heavies do have that keyword, right? Shooting knights that can still stomp. Yeah, that's what I would include for sure. I'd love some Warhounds and paint them like the 2nd edition cover. I have the 2nd edition now on the shelves behind me. I'm not sure if you noticed that in the other Knights video, Highland. I also have the Dark Millennium, the rulebook from the expansion. Back when Warhammer editions had expansions. That's going back a while, isn't it? I like the Sicarian Omega. Yeah, I mean, the Sicarian's rated pretty highly on the tier list, right? Like, I think the Sicarians are decent. I guess there's a lot of decent Forge World options. We just don't see too many of them because... And I don't know why... I was actually going to say, I don't know why we don't see too many of them. I love Dark Millennium. Yeah, I liked the old rules, just it took forever to play a single game, right? And the old Overwatch rule was kind of crazy, like the old Overwatch rule slowed the game down so much. Yeah, you could definitely include some custodes. The custode bikes are very good, right? They'd probably synergize quite nicely with the Blood Angels, or a couple of Telemons, because it's hard to go wrong with Telemons. They're just so survivable, and they can do a lot of damage against Telemon Dreads. Second edition was very hero based. Yeah, well, it was actually quite a lot of hero hammer in second edition, wasn't it? I don't even think you had to make battalions in second edition, did you? You just run whatever the hell you want. I'm debating double Volkite v single with Cyclone, Chainfist and a Plasma Blaster. I know the Volkites are great, but I hate single purpose units. Are they single purpose? I mean, if you charge someone with a Volkite Contemptor and it's turn 3, you're still going to get 6 attacks. They're still going to all be -1. It's not terrible. Do you know what? I felt the same way, right? Recently, and I'd never run a Relic Contemptor without a claw. I never really ran any Dreadnoughts without a claw, because I figure, like, we're Blood Angels and we should always hit things in melee, and that's how Dreadnoughts should be for us. And then I tried the Volkite Contemptors, the double one without the melee, and was like, alright, these are pretty overpowered. Yes, they're single purpose, but right now they're just overpowered, and I don't think there's too much more to say on that except that they're overpowered, so just you should run them and just run them as I think just run them as pure shooting platforms, expecting in some patch that's probably not too far away for them to get nerfed. I say patch, I guess I mean like chapter approved or FAQ, but you know what I mean. But yeah, I don't like running shooting only Dreadnoughts on Blood Angels, but like I just think they're just too good at the moment. Like their points cost are just too low for the ability to spit out mortal wounds so reliably every single turn. Alright guys, I am going to call it a night. Get the 3D printed arms because they're definitely going to get nerfed. Yeah, I agree with that. I think they're definitely going to... Do you know what? I kind of thought that... like... AdMech flyers would have been nerfed already. So if AdMech flyers haven't been nerfed, Volkite Contemptors may be hanging around for a little while yet. But yeah, I mean, they go in and out of stock on Forge World so quickly, you can't even get the official ones anyway. But yeah, trust me, I think what you want to do is... You're very welcome, Jeffrey. Thanks for being here. I think what you want to do is you want to get... I think you just want to try a game or two with double Volkite Contemptors. And once you've played a couple of games with them, you'll be like, wow, okay, these things are kind of borderline overpowered. And as much as it sucks that they have no claw, they can just do so much damage. It doesn't even matter that they have a claw. I think I ended up charging a land speeder or something against Dark Angels and finishing it off with just like your basic 6 attacks -1 because they've got no melee weapon. But yeah, I think in the grand tournament I'm going to in 3 weeks' time, I think I will be including Volkite Contemptors. And I'll be including the double Volkite arms because, let's face it, I like to win games and double Volkite arms wins tournaments, I think. Yeah. But yeah, anyway, we'll be back tomorrow afternoon, 4 o'clock UK time. Hopefully I'll catch some of you guys then. If you enjoyed tonight's stream and you want to leave a like, that's very appreciated. Or if you want to leave a follow too, thank you for that. And if you did follow me on Twitch or YouTube or vice versa, if you want to jump on another platform and give a follow there as well, that's also super appreciated, so thank you. I'll see you guys tomorrow, 4 o'clock UK time. Let me tell you what army lists we're going over in case anyone is here in the chat and we're going over their lists tomorrow. The lists we're going over tomorrow are Dirty Splodge, James Fisher, Mega Miniatures, Holy, and Jordan Mattheus, something like that. Mattheus, Mattheus. Alright, guys. I still vote Redemptors. I took Redemptors in the other tournament list. So one of my tournament lists is going to run Redemptors, one will run Volkite Contemptors. The one I want to win more badly is going to be the Volkite Contemptors, though. Because that's a grand tournament. That's what I really want to... how long is the member backlog at the moment? I actually don't think it's that bad at all. Let me check. Just if you submit a list today, or if you're the next member that submits, you're up next week. So there isn't a long backlog of member lists at all at the moment. But I suppose there will be a week break the following week because I am at the tournament that week. So, alright guys, have a good evening. Thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow. Good night.